is from the first Beefheart album, the very first one. First Beefheart album called Safe as Milk. And it's the young Ry Cooder playing in the band at that time. Don always seemed to attract the best musicians, and one reason, I thought it was great to join his band because I thought, well, it will really distinguish me as a player. It was not easy music to play by any means. All right, so this is Sure Enough and Yes I Do. Lastly, I'll play one of the solo pieces that became kind of a signature piece for me and kind of put me on the map instrumentally. It's a piece called Evening Bell. And how this began was I'd done one tour and played as a guest on the first Beefheart album I was on. It was called Dock at the Radar Station on Virgin. So 2 years later, I had a conversation with Epic Records. They didn't even know that Don was signed as an artist to Virgin, and they were the licensor in the US, which was absurd as far as I was concerned. And I got an A&R guy there who ran the department excited, Greg Geller. He said, I love Cats and Beefheart. I would bankroll a record with Virgin, of course. So we got green-lighted. And so Don said, okay, on this album, I'm going to give you a piece to play, and I'll send you a tape. And he sent me a tape. It was labeled Evening Bell. And this is one of his piano tapes. There's actually, I think, a version that's, if you get Anton Corbin's DVD of a short documentary he did called Some Yo-Yo Stuff. You can hear it's half of it at the end play on piano. And he said, learn that on the guitar. So right away I said, hey man, you're using all 10 fingers. There's, you know, there's only 6 strings on a guitar, man. How can I play this? And he said, you better find another 4. Yeah. That's what I meant about the, you know, Tom, he loved to give you impossible tasks. He just loved that. He loved being diabolical like that, but it stretched you as a musician to try and find solutions. I mean, once, not to digress too much, but we were on tour, and we were in a hotel, I think it was in the UK, and he saw this beautiful light fixture with a silk shade hanging down like a chandelier shade, but on a smaller light. And he said, man, that's Snyder's hat. That would make a hell of a hat for him to wear. He already had designed a hat that you see Rick Snyder, Brave Midnight hats, Snyder, wearing that Icecream for Crow video. So he said, okay, can you get that hat for me? Can you get that hat? Somebody, I don't know, climbed up on a chair when no one was looking at the hotel and, you know, boosted this beautiful shade. And, well, we're ashamed of it now, of course, but back then we were younger. And, you know, Tom was like sort of a little bit of a bad boy. So we had this shade, and he said, okay, but the only way you can wear this hat is if it has a strap of clear plastic surgical tubing with red cinnamon hearts stuck in the center of it, strung through the tubing. That'll make the strap. Without that, man, you can't wear it. It's no good. So, like, where are you going to find this stuff in the middle of a tour? Right? That's the question. Anyway. But it would have been a hell of a hat. We had the wherewithal to find this stuff, I guess. Back to this piece. I struggled with it. I sat with the cassette for at least 6 weeks, and I would do about 5 seconds of music every day. I get up early. I had a day job then at CBS Records. I wrote ads for them, and I really hated this job. So this was what I was devoting all my real mental energy to, my off-hour time. I sat with this tape. I'd listen 5 seconds. And I'd say, what is he playing on the piano there? How do you play that? Where are these notes on the guitar? So I did it all by ear, you know, with a lot of close listening and backing the tape up and playing it and then finding the notes and backing it up again. First off, I noticed, okay, the lowest note that he's hitting on this tape is a low D on the piano, while the guitar only goes down to E. I got a drop down string there. There I hit this low D string, right? The rest of this, the tuning is the same on the guitar. The tonal center of the piece seemed to be D, but it meandered, you know, went in and out of the keys. Sometimes he would just like pass his fingers over, and you know, whatever pleasing notes he would hit upon would become the basis of this piece. So, but the low D seemed to anchor it, and that was one solution. So I sat there, you know, for a long time, over many days, in the morning, and I just devoted myself to learning this. It became like a mantra to me, you know, like as if I was a Buddhist scholar meditating. And the goal was to, like, you know, achieve the perfect bliss by mastering this piece. So when I thought I was pretty well along and accomplished, I taped myself on the same cassette recorder I was listening to, and I sent it out to Don in Lancaster, where he lived in the high Mojave Desert. And he said, "That's pretty good, man, but it's not the whole thing." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, there's more, obviously." Okay? "I'm going to send you another tape," which he did. "Just tack that on where the first tape runs out. Just start learning this one, man." So that was another minute of music. So I had 2 discrete instrumentals memorized in my head. And the bitch was to try and join them up, you know, like I play this first instrumental perfectly, I had that down. And then I'd have to come to the end of the tape and leap over the chasm, you know, onto the next instrumental that I'd learned. And it was very difficult to make that adjustment and to string the two pieces of music together so that it sounded fluent. And I could play it fluently, but I did eventually. I learned a lot how my memory worked back then, you know, but it was just hard to paper over the crack in this piece. But finally I did it. And then he said, I want you to use my exploding note theory on this. I said, what is that? Play every note as if it had no relation to the previous note or the subsequent note. Yeah, like bombs bursting in air, you know, really staccato kind of attack. So that is what you hear if you get the record, Ice Cream for Crow. It was done only in a couple of takes. Evening Bell, so I'm going to play it here. Thanks very much, and stick around, have a nice break, and we'll see you in 20 minutes with I Have a Cat.